It's hump day.
Hump day!
It's hump day.
Hump day!
Right.
All right, we are live. I'm sure we were live earlier, like always. So anyways, welcome everybody. Today is the 8th of March, 2017. This is Hump Day Hangouts number 122, and we got almost everybody here. I guess it appears random, so I'm going to quit guessing where everybody's at, and I'm just going to say their name. So Hernan, how's it going?
Hey, Adam. Hey, Adam. I see you there. Hey, Bradley over there. I'm pretty excited to be here. So
what's up with the tank top? It's pretty warm down there.
It's hot. Yeah, it's warm still. It's warm.
Look at Adam.
March.
Adam's bundled up.
Like the two hemispheres. There you go.
Gotcha. I know we're only separated by nearly, I don't know, like 10,000 miles or something. So
yeah, maybe.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Marco, speaking of weather, man, how's it going?
It's nice, man. It can't get any better. It's like 80, 85 during the day, and it gets really cold at night, 70.
That's tough. All right, moving right along. Bradley, how you doing?
I'm good. Happy to be here.
Outstanding. Well, I'll just launch right into it, everybody. I think by now you probably know, if you were interested in VideoPowerHouse, the launch is now over. So we'll have a sign up for you if you want to find out some more information about how you could get involved in that later on. But if you were looking for launch bonuses and stuff, that is gone. So just wanted to make that clear to everybody. But we do have a very cool webinar coming up. So Marco, do you want to tell the viewers what they can check out next week?
Wow. The bird's eye view. How much can I say without giving away the arm? All right. I'm going to be talking about this during the webinar, so it's okay. It's public. It's okay to talk about it now. What really bugs me about our space, internet marketing, SEO, just the whole deal, is how people are misled, right? And the problem with human psychology is that if we're told often enough that something works, we tend to believe that it does, even though it doesn't, and so we keep trying to make it work because we're told that it's supposed to work. Now that's downright, it's either misleading, dishonest, I mean, you name it. There's other people who don't know what the hell they're doing, and they're selling in our space, right? And then there's other people who actually know the things that work and the things that will actually help people, but they don't give everything, right? They call it what is that? Informative but incomplete. I mean, get the fuck out. Am I allowed to say that on Hump Day? Get the freak out of here, man.
How they try to keep it a little bit cleaner.
How can you do that, man? But you can expect more during the webinar, trust me, because I'm angry. I'm upset. So what I'm going to do this coming Monday, I'm going to tell it like it is. I'm going to say what's working, and I'm going to say why. And I'm not going to show what I'm doing, but I will get into what I've done to show that it is working. And look, let me tell you, because I had a talk with my guy. You know how Mike Pierce and I go way back to when he was doing the Social Explosion plugin for Network Empire. And I was a beta tester for that. So we're talking 3-4 years back. I can't remember how long it was.
At least 4 years now. Yeah.
All right. So anyway, I was talking to him, and he said that from a conversation that we had, we actually changed the way that SEO is being done. Now, I don't see myself that way. I don't see myself as influencing the whole SEO community and the way that search engine optimization is done. Now, I will go into what he said and the discoveries and the things that we know, right? Because he's one of those guys that tells it like it is. I mean, he doesn't just give you garbage. He'll give you actionable shit just like we do. And so on Monday, even though I will go back to a previous webinar that I did last year on iframes, it's not just going to be, I'm not just going to regurgitate the same information. It's good. But of course, I have to do the foundation, right? I have to do the foundation, but the rest of it, I think is going to be on point. And the people who miss it, I'm sorry, and I feel sorry for you because I'm in one of those moods where I'm bound to say anything.
Awesome. All right. Well, the link is on the page. Go ahead.
I was going to say, quick question though. It's free to attend the webinar, but only on Monday, correct? We're like, if you're not there on Monday, then we're going to make it available, but it's going to be behind a payment gateway after the initial webinar. Am I right on that, guys?
Yeah, we had a few people, not a few, we've had several people who kept saying, literally, people were like, you guys should charge for this. And we were like, okay, well, we'll do that. So there it is. So that's the way it's going to be. We want to keep providing this. And Marco, he's the one giving the information. And he said, like, I want to do this free up front, like provide the chance for people to see this stuff. So that's the way we're going to do it. But after that, we're charging.
But remember that most of the stuff that I give away for free, people are charging literally thousands of dollars for, man. You know this. And they're not giving everybody everything that they're supposed to be giving them. Now I'm going to give for free. Come get $5,000-$10,000 worth of information for free. I'm not going to pitch, although I will say what it is that I use to get the results that I use, that I get. Right? Does that make sense? I'm not going to pitch. I'm not going to just continue saying, oh, this rocks and this and this and this and just mention my product over and over and over. I'm not going to do it at the end. I mean, if people know us well enough to know where they should go for stuff that works. That's just my 2 cents.
Awesome. All right, real quick, I'm going to hop back on. I've got Adam's quick book report moment. Now, this was embarrassing. I noticed that this was in the background. So I just picked this up. This is kind of sad for somebody who's so into ClickFunnels. I've actually never read this book, so I'm going to read that book this week. And then another one that I'm reading, and I'll definitely tell you guys about, but the Blue Ocean Strategy. So this is more on the business side of things. But I'll put up maybe I'll do a quick review of that, like a 2 or 3 minute video. But so far it's pretty cool. It's about just kind of redefining the boundaries in terms of your business, which, you can do for clients or whether you're doing SEO instead of just being another person in that shark-filled water. It's kind of defining your own game. So anyways, good stuff.
Awesome. Thanks, Adam. Okay, so I guess we can get into questions now.
Let's do it.
That's good. All right. You guys can hear me again.
We can hear you.
We can hear.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see your screen too.
I know there's an odd delay when you screen share on this new Webinar Jam app. Okay, so Mark O'Connell's up first. Hey, Mark. He's been attending Hump Day Hangouts for God knows how long time. So thanks for showing up again, Mark. He asked the first part, Marco's directed at you and your back, talking about using Veridesk or a stand-up desk type thing, which could help. So I'm not going to read that to you because you can read that, but thanks for that, Mark. That's a good suggestion. I know a lot of people are doing that stuff now, the stand-up desks, converting their desk to stand-up desks or whatever, using Veridesk or other sort of products like that. And they say, I've read a lot of stuff about, I guess sitting down now is like what they consider is bad for your health, like smoking was 20 years ago or something. I don't know, but you might want to consider.
I heard the same thing. That, or just if you can't do the standing desk, just get up and move. Don't sit there for an hour or two at a time.
Every hour, get up and move around for 5 or 10 minutes.
I can't sit around for an hour anyway. I have to stand up. I have to sit down. I have to lie down. I'm beyond Veridesk. I need surgery. I have to go have surgery. I mean, I'm beyond that. Once I heal and go through the whole process, then yeah, that would be an option. So thanks, Mark.
All right, so the question is, my question relates to mobile-specific design. Ooh, this will be a tough one for me because I'm not up to speed on mobile stuff at the moment. I've been using Beaver Builder Page Builder, which is an incredible web design tool, and Beaver Builder allows you to create different layouts that will only be shown on mobile if the site doesn't look quite right on a mobile. So you can copy a certain part of the website and change it slightly for mobile users, which results in a better experience for all devices, as you can modify the design or text or whatever you want for any device, but in the source code, it shows both layouts. If the content is the same, will this be classed as duplicate content? That's a good question. I guess it depends on how, if they have some sort of like some sort of markup to explain that in the code. That would be something that maybe, like, for example, a canonical would work like with a mobile device, if a mobile version of a site, which is basically an exact duplicate of the full version of the site, but just in a mobile friendly format, then that could be considered duplicate content as well. But a lot of times those, it depends. The way that I've set them up in the past has always been on a like an m dot subdomain. In other words, whatever the domain is, I'd put an m dot subdomain on it, right? So it would be m.domain.com. And then I would install the mobile version of the site. But all I would do is set a canonical in the header, the HTML header of the site, the mobile version of the site, to point to the corresponding pages on the full version of the site. But you also have to think that, and again, I don't know this for sure, but because it is if you have the mobile site on a subdomain, it's considered a different domain. So I don't know that that would cause a problem anyways. Now, I'm not sure that that's the case here, Mark, because you don't state whether it's on a separate like subdomain or if it's just like a redirect script that detects when a mobile browser is viewing the site and then redirects them to the mobile version of the site. And that may be the case. But I would imagine there should be some sort of markup that would eliminate that as being a potential issue. What are your thoughts, Marco?
Yeah, if it's on an m dot website.com, right? Then the canonical should go from mobile to desktop right now. As Google fully moves over to mobile, it should go the other way. It should go from desktop to the mobile. That's the way that you're supposed to be canonicalizing right now. So I would just do it to the mobile altogether, because they're moving to it if they haven't done it all already. Now, if it's on
canonicalize the desktop to the mobile,
yes,
oh wow,
absolutely. That's the way that is being recommended right now, and that's the way that I'm recommending it to all of the people that I talk to. So wow. Yes, well, it's mobile first. So
yeah, I know, and I get that. It's old habits die hard.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So now
it's quite a shift.
If you have a responsive website, and we're not talking about a subdomain, a canonical will take care of everything, right?
Yeah. Well, he says right here at the last part of the question, it states in the source code what is for desktop and tablet and what is for only for mobile. So it's very much like dynamic web design, but both are there, even though the mobile version of the specific piece of content is served just to the mobile users only. Both are in the source code. Do you think this could cause issues? Sorry for the long comment. No, Mark, I don't think it does. I mean, again, I don't know because I'm not that versed on mobile stuff yet. It's not something I've spent a lot of time studying at the moment. But if it's got separate markup, then I'm assuming that's going to resolve any issues. But what I would do is reach out to Beaver Builder support and ask them specifically that question, because I'm sure that that's been brought to their attention. And if it hasn't thus far, you can be the one to bring it to their attention and let them address it for you and resolve any potential errors or problems before they arise. Okay.
Isn't Beaver Builder a plugin for WordPress anyway? So he's doing WordPress.
I don't know, but I'm afraid to do a Google search on Beaver Builder on a public webinar.
No, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm almost 100% sure that Beaver Builder is a WordPress plugin, and so the template that you're using should be taking care of the canonicalization anyway. So I don't think that there's any problems either way, unless they've omitted that, which then you could talk to them about canonicals.
If we had more time. Anybody ever remember the movie The Naked Gun?
Yep.
He's like, nice, yeah. Beaver. Thanks, I just had it stuffed last week. She pulls down a stuffed beaver. All right, anyway, sorry, guys. Scott Rogers is up. He says, there it is. There's the Giphy. I'll be damned. What is your recommendations for a small business email solution for 3 employees? Use their website hosting company. Use Gmail and customize it so it doesn't look like a Gmail account or other. I always do Gmail, Scott. I always just use the SMTP settings through Gmail. So essentially, let me rephrase that. I use the webmail account with my hosting account, but I set up SMTP through Gmail in an alias. Okay, that way I can send and receive emails directly from my Gmail. Does that make sense? So let me just give you an example. Take a look at this, guys. I I mean, I got a ton of aliases. See that? So that's what I'm saying. I always do everything right through Gmail. The reason why is because, you know, Gmail is like industry standard. Number one, it's just easy to use. We're all familiar with it. And in my opinion, it's the best way to set it up. Okay.
The only problem with that is if the receiver, the person who receives the email, is using Outlook, and Outlook will expose the original account. So it'll say, like, if your Gmail is Bradley Benner and you're sending a semantic master email, it'll be bradleybenner@gmail.com on behalf of Outlook. Right. I'm pretty sure, or I think Outlook is the only one that'll do that, that will expose what's behind the alias.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
the more complicated route that I don't like to do, but you can use Google Apps and set up a business email account through Google that way.
Google Suite, which is pretty easy to set up, and then you get your own storage associated with it, which is kind of nice. So like I use that for some stuff. It's not that
you
bad.
can do that. I just stick with regular Gmail, but that's another way that you can do it.
One cool thing about that I will say is that you can have several inboxes open, and Google knows that like you can do that. So like I have 2 or 3 Gmail tabs open and in the same browser, and it knows the difference between them. So it's kind of nice.
Cool.
So
he said, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. The only problem with that is that if you use Google Suites, you won't be able to sign into Hump Hangouts.
Yeah.
You won't be able to watch our anything Semantic Master. You'll have to do it through a regular Gmail account.
Yep.
Good point.
However, we may be eliminating that as an issue over the next couple months, but we'll talk about that at a later date. All right. So he says, how do you do number 2? Scott, go to YouTube and search SMTP settings for Gmail, or Gmail, set up Gmail alias. Just go to YouTube and search for it. I'm sure you'll find plenty of tutorials that will help you set that up. It's very, very simple to do. And in cPanel, if you're using your web hosting, you just click on configure email client, and it will give you all of your SMTP, the details that you need to add in the Gmail when you set up the SMTP settings. It'll give that information to you. So just go to your webmail section in cPanel, and then go to the webmail address and click on configure email client, and it'll basically expand to like a drop down, and then it'll give you all of your host. It's usually like host.domain.com or whatever your host is, or mail.domain.com. And then it'll give you your port number and TTL or SSL or something like that, or whatever. It's really simple to do, and you can figure it out. Just go to YouTube and find a tutorial. Okay. My browser bookmarks out of control. I've seen some screens on webbys that appear to have home page grid of bookmarks. I'm trying to find that somewhere. Any ideas? No, I use Xmarks as my bookmark keeper because it syncs across all of my devices and all my laptops and Chromebooks and all that stuff, and you know, tablets and everything. And it's also integrated because it's made from the same company as LastPass. But I don't have like a bookmark like page. I just use Xmarks. That's this little icon right here. So I prefer using Xmarks. Anybody else have any bookmark things that they use?
Yeah, I would just say for this, like once it gets out of control, it's not like having more and more layers is going to do it. Like eventually you need to go through and like, you know, maybe you create an archive section where if you haven't used it or you don't even know what it is, you just throw it in there. So you still have it in case you need it. But, you know, it takes a little bit of upkeep. You can't just have, you know, 100,000 bookmarks that are easily accessible. So,
yeah. By the way, if you're using Xmarks or some sort of bookmark sync device or app, excuse me, one thing you have to do is go to your Chrome settings and make sure that you disable the sharing of bookmarks between Chrome browsers, and it's in the settings, because otherwise what happens is, like, if you make a change on one device but not on another, then it'll try to sync with whatever, like there will be a mismatch and it'll throw an error code. And I made a mistake. I bought a new Chromebook in December last year, just a couple months ago, and I bought a new Chromebook and I forgot to change that setting in the new, once I got online. And I told it to sync with Xmarks from that Chromebook, and it screwed all of my bookmarks up. And we're talking like 7 years of accrued bookmarks, and it's been a nightmare. I'm still struggling with that now, and that was back in December. So I just recommend, if you're going to use Xmarks, that you make sure that you disable in Chrome the sharing of bookmarks or syncing of settings. That's what it is, and there's a specific checkbox for that. Okay. All right, Jane is up. She says, what is your favorite way to protect anonymity? I can't pronounce that word, via proxies. We use Whoer.net as a guide, always checking for 100% before working on posting for clients in multiple locations. But somehow the Google search at the bottom of our search query shows our subnet, even when using a Firefox add-on called Location Guard. The only thing that I would be, what I look for mainly is WebRTC. I'll use, first of all, I'll set, use Foxy Proxy, which we have training inside of like Syndication Academy and that kind of stuff. But anyways, I'll add the IP, the proxy to Foxy Proxy, and then I'll make sure that if it's a proxy, if I'm using a proxy that's not in the same time zone as my local computer, my PC, then I'll make sure that I switch the time on my PC to match the time zones up. Okay, because otherwise there will be a difference. There will be basically it won't be synced. The IP time or proxy time will be different than what your local computer time will show. That makes sense, and that will show that you could be using a proxy. The other thing is WebRTC, right? Make sure that that's disabled. And if you're saying that you're hitting 100% in Whoer.net, then I'm sure you already know about WebRTC. But if you don't, just go to Google and search for, or you can go to ipleak.net. ipleak.net, right? And there's a scroll down to the bottom of the page, and right here it says, what is WebRTC leaks? And it basically tells you exactly what to do right here. It's very, very simple to do. And also, if you're using Chrome, there's apparently a extension called WebRTC Network Limiter. I have not tested that because I do most of my dirty SEO work in Firefox, not in Chrome. But just so you know, I'm pretty sure that you're aware of that already, but for those of you that aren't. But other than that, I mean, I don't even really try to hit to 100%, but I would recommend, Jana, if you're doing a lot of this kind of stuff, if you don't already have Browsio, you should get it, because then you can assign IPs or proxies to specific profiles, and then you always log in using the same IP to those, like you always log into those profiles using the corresponding or associated IP, right? The designated IP. And here's the thing with Browsio, guys, I'm telling you, it's the way to go going forward. If we come out with a Syndication Academy V3, we're going to be basically integrating Browsio with it, because guys, you should be building digital footprints now. You should be building digital footprints. That makes sense. We talk about that, doing what we do with interlinking all of our accounts and putting, getting a presence on as many properties as possible and not trying to hide that, because like, especially what I mean is like the branded footprints, guys, you want that. But even for persona-based stuff, guys, it's only natural for people to browse the web that most, the vast majority, 98% of people out there don't even know what cookies and cache are, right? So they never clean any of that stuff. And so you want to start accruing cookies and basically allowing the networks to start developing a profile for your personas or your brands, so that it makes that association, right? And it makes it more genuine and more real. And so again, in Syndication Academy V3, if we develop that and come out with it, we're going to be encouraging using something like Browsio very heavily, because it's awesome. You can start building out or accruing a digital footprint, which is going to make your profile so much stronger and so much more relevant and valid, if that makes sense. Because it's like an entity validation, right? It's another way for Google to validate that it's not a spam account, is when it has accrued cookies and a digital profile. All right. So keep that in mind, Jenna. Again, it sounds like you're doing client work and everything else. Then I highly recommend that you invest in Browsio. It would totally be worth it. And that way you can assign specific proxies to each client that you have, and always log in using that same IP and start building digital footprints for those clients. Okay. It's going to make a world of difference going forward. All right. Jeff bears up. He says, I'm in on VideoPowerHouse. I have one major goal of ranking this video, and I'm already planning on my silo. Great training. Thanks. The channel for this business is older. When I'm not logged into YouTube, I get this URL as the channel URL. Okay. If I'm logged in as the user which controls the channel, and I click on the Creator Studio and click View Channel, I get the following. Okay. Which is the correct channel URL for me to submit if I set up a branded network? I may not be able to attend today, so tag me and I'll see your reply. Jeff, you can use either, because they both resolve to the same location. Does that make sense? So I'm pretty sure, I'd have to double check this, but I'm pretty sure that the vanity URL, in this case, this one, let's go take a look at it. This, you could do something like, I know Marco likes to use where goes, but I like to use this one. To each their own. But if we take a look at it, I'm pretty sure it just resolves. Okay, so this, I thought the vanity URL resolved to the long or the ugly URL, but it looks like it might be the other way around. So let's try that one. Because if we're looking at this, you can see that it goes, it's a 200 test OK, and it goes directly to that URL. I know it's small on your end, guys, but you can check this on your own. Let me just check one more. But they both resolve to the same place, so it doesn't make any difference. Yeah, it looks like both of those URLs, they're not even set up as redirects, but they both land at the same location. So it shouldn't make any difference. And just to double check this, let's just take a look at this. We're going to expose your channel here.
If I can just make a comment.
Sure.
One is a user and one is a channel. Now, if you look for the channel Bobble Factory, there is no channel Bobble Factory with the.
You mean with user
URL, right?
Let me try it.
Not user, but channel. You know how look at the first one. The first one says channel.
Right.
Right, and then it has that long string.
Right. That's this one.
User resolves fine because he's the user of the channel.
Mm-hmm.
If you check the channel URL with the long string, that's the channel, but there is no vanity channel called Bobble Factory.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if you remove this user right here to where it's just youtube.com/Bobble Factory,
right,
then it resolves to the same location. See?
Right.
So that's
to the user, not the channel.
But I mean, that's okay. But it says user in the URL, but it's still the channel URL. It's just the vanity URL. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So I mean, maybe I'm not understanding the disconnect here because they both land at the same place. Like, you know, if I'm not logged in to if I'm in a clean browser and I visit both of those URLs, I'm going to get to the same location. It's not going to make any difference, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm asking.
No, try the long string.
That's this one
with the user. Change channel to user and see if that redirects.
But why would we do that? He wasn't asking about that. I'm just curious. I'm
just checking to see where everything's going because I don't know why that's looking like that. He should have a channel that's called that, whatever it is that it's called.
But that's what this URL is. This one. See, let me just explain, guys, because this might be like, look, if I change this out, if you go into YouTube and you look at your custom URL, if we change this to, I think, just a C, that's the display URL that they give you, right? So let me check and see. Yeah, no, it's saying this one's not existing, so apparently not. But what I'm saying is it says user Bobble Factory. You could even just remove that and just have it say youtube.com/Bobble Factory, and if I hit enter,
resolve back to the user, right?
Resolve to the same location, which is the same as this long string here.
Right.
So it doesn't matter either way as far as SEO or branding or interlinking is, in my opinion, it makes no difference. I like to use the branded URL or the vanity URL because it just gets that brand term in there again, if that makes sense. I prefer using this one. That makes sense. But it doesn't, honestly, I don't think it makes any difference as far as SEO because they both resolve to the same location. So anyways, we're going to move on. Next one is quit this house. Okay. I am a real estate agent that sells in different towns and 3 counties. Okay. In YouTube, should I create a playlist of the top 6 keywords, then silo 6 videos under main keyword? Let's see. Sells in different towns and 3 counties. Okay. Should I create a playlist of the top 6 keywords and then silo 6 videos under main keyword? And then the same videos and create a playlist for each city and county that I work in. I'm not really following this question. I mean, yeah, as far as if you have, usually with a playlist silo, guys, you're going to want your broadest term at the top, right? You're going to name the playlist your broadest term. And then if you're going to put supporting videos in there, essentially supporting keywords, right? Generally going to be longer tail. You're going to use whatever the top level keyword is the first video, and then you're going to put all the other videos subordinate to that. And you're going to interlink between them. And you can do it in the video descriptions, and you can also use YouTube comments. You should be using both, by the way. And you should be linking to the playlist URL, the share URL. And you should also, depending on which type of silo method, and this is all covered in YouTube Silo Academy, depending on, if you're trying to rank one specific keyword or if you're trying to rank all of them in together, there's different types of siloing methods. But trust me, you're going to want to use the video description and the comments for both. Okay, and I'm doing a lot of YouTube case study work right now. And so I'm doing a lot of heavy stuff in there, guys. And masterclass, which, by the way, we have that in about 30 minutes. We're going to be going over some of that today. And we're also doing just doing a lot of YouTube stuff right now, okay? But as far as your question, yeah, put your 6 keywords and under the main keyword in that playlist, and then you can use the same videos to create a playlist for each city and county. Yeah, you can do that. That's not a problem. Guys, you can have a video in more than one playlist. That's fine. What you want to do is just make sure that your silos are logical. I mean, that's it. You just want to make sure that they're logical. They can be silos based upon geographic location, like that's the common denominator is the location, or they could be industry, or they could be both, really. It just depends. You just got to make sure that it's logical. I mean, it's really that simple, guys. When it comes to siloing stuff, it's just, does it make sense for this hierarchy? The way that you have those keywords stacked, does it make sense? Right? If it doesn't make sense, if it seems out of place somewhere, then don't do it, basically. Any comments on that, guys?
I like that last statement, Bradley. If it seems out of place, don't do it. I totally agree with that because you are optimizing for the user first, Yep. So I really like that last statement that you said.
All right, Paul's up. He says, say I have a video. I'm trying to rank on first page using Google properties, drive stacking as you call it. Should the other drive files with links pointing to this video be created in the same Google account where the video is uploaded to? Or should these drive stacks be created in a non-associated Gmail account? In my experience, Paul, it doesn't make any difference. Marco, what's your take?
Yeah, I think we're getting into RYS territory here. I don't know how much I'd be willing to give away as far as drive stacking. If he's in RYS Academy, I'd be more than happy to guide him more in whatever it is that he's trying to do. But same Google account, it does make a difference, by the way.
Okay.
It does, because I mean, your drive account is associated, and everything in there gets all of that love, right? The spiderweb silo, as we call it, and then it goes out from there to wherever it's directed. And
so you're
if you
saying
have it somewhere,
should create it with the same account or have it in a different?
Yeah, I would say that it needs to be in a drive. That's why we call it a drive stack. It's within it's a self-contained drive. I don't know if you consider it. I don't know what you'd consider. It's just a place where you store those files, and they're interlinked. And then we do we add all of our secret sauce to it, so that everything is relevant, and we're pushing relevancy everywhere. So. Okay. I don't see how having it on another account, how you could push the relevancy, but it wouldn't be as relevant as if you had it in the same account.
Well, there you have it. It's a good answer then, Paul. I've done both, to let you guys know, and I've seen results using both methods. So, like a lot of the times, for example, if I've got existing videos out there that were from another account on another account, and I get a drive stack built under a persona account to push relevancy to that video, then it's not going to be in the same account, and it still provides results. Maybe not as good a results as according to what Marco's saying, but I've still been able to produce results that way. So if you can get better results having the video in the same account, then absolutely do that, right? But I've tested both methods, and I've been able to achieve results both ways. So Jeannie is up. This is a good question. I can show this, guys. Am I allowed to give away my Yelp listing strategies right now in Hump Day Hangouts? We can talk about that, can't we? Or is that masterclass mastermind stuff only?
Leave this one up to you.
If it's up to me, I'm gonna give it away because it's just Yelp.
All right, let's do it.
All right. You guys want to see a Yelp listing strategy? Let me do this. All right, we're going to pull up a Yelp listing here. So let me just pull up I don't know, think of something. Let's just say HVAC contractor Culpeper, which is where I live. And I've got it set on Bing as my default, which I teach you guys to do. So apparently I'm drinking my own Kool-Aid here. Let me try this again. Son of a bitch. Sorry, guys. HVAC, let's say Culpeper, VA. All right, let's see if we can find a Yelp listing here. Right here. Well, that's fine. This is a Yelp index page, but that will work. Let's just go click on one of these guys that have some photos, like this guy right here. We'll click on this one. All right, guys. So, yeah, you can get away with basically just a whole bunch of links to Yelp listings. Well, first of all, make sure the Yelp listing is completed in its entirety. Complete everything that you can on the Yelp page, right? So when you're setting up the listing, complete as much as you possibly can. I mean, everything that you can fill in, do it. Put as many photos in as it allows you to. Make sure that your photos are geotagged, that you have the metadata, EXIF data, all of that stuff has been added. When I say EXIF data, guys, I mean coordinates, that kind of stuff, right? So mark everything up first. Get various keywords in there, right? So that don't hammer every single picture with the same keywords or the same keyword. And also remember, when you're optimizing or adding when you're optimizing metadata of the files themselves, you want every individual file to have multiple variations of the keywords too. You don't want to hit the same keyword like in all the different locations. What I mean by that is if you're on Windows, if it's a JPEG file or JPG, either one, you can right click on it and click on properties and then click details. And then from details, you can add a bunch of metadata. You can do it that way. Or you can use something like, and I was just playing with this yesterday. There's a online tool called the XFer. It's just so you can add EXIF data. So if I say EXIF tool, something like that, it's called the XFer, the XFer.net or something like that. Let me see if I can find it. Anyways, right here. This is it. The xfer.net. It's a very strange name. But anyways, this right here you can use to add like coordinates and stuff like that. There's also a download. This is all done online. That's why I like this one. But I've been using, and I've got it up here in my browser, called GeoSetter. I've been using that for 7 years now. But I like the online, and that's this right here. You guys see this? And this is how you can add basically metadata and everything to the actual files, right? So you can add like geo coordinates and everything else. So make sure that all that's done first. Then when you go to, once you've completed the Yelp listing, let me show you a few things. Number one, you've got the main Yelp listing URL. You guys see that? That's pretty standard, right? Well, let's show you something else. And this is one of our mastermind members brought this to my attention, David Ross, and it was awesome because I had never even thought to do this, and he brought this to our attention. But if you go look at the page source, guys, from your Yelp listing, scroll down a little bit, and you're going to see this right here. You guys, this is freaking gold. Those are all canonicals, guys. They're basically the Yelp in different languages, like the different versions. Every one of these URLs, guys, are canonicalized or basically to this main listing here. So look at all these additional target URLs right here you have to build links to. You guys see that? That's freaking gold right there. Because every one of these could be different link targets. Okay, so that's the second method, right? So the first method is number one, complete the profile. And that includes as many photos as you can with all of your photos optimized with metadata, geotags, everything, right? Number two, hit the source code of the listing, copy all of your canonical URLs or alternate URLs, foreign language URL, whatever you want to call them. Get all of those. Put those in a spreadsheet too. Right? That you can use as link building targets. All right. And lastly, you want to go through each one of the images. Now that you got all the images, click on each image, guys, copy the URL right out of that. Each one of these images has a separate URL. Let's watch the address bar. When I click to the next image, it changes. Click to the next. Well, there's only 2 images on here, maybe 3. There it is. There's another one. So each one of these URLs here, guys, is another target URL. Does that make sense? So that was, I didn't give it all away, but I gave a lot of it away. So is that acceptable? Are you guys okay with that?
Good to go.
Hopefully that makes sense.
Fine.
What'd you say?
I guess that's fine.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Hopefully you guys got something out of that because you can do a lot with Yelp listings. They rank like crazy. I've got a lot of lead gen stuff are out there that is like the organic part. Yelp. I rank the Yelp listings very easily. Even if the websites themselves don't rank as well in organic as I would like, I end up getting Yelp listings to rank really well. Okay, so Tara's up. She says, I have a client whose site was spammed by a competitor with over 22,000 links using his main anchor text. He already had about 50,000 links. Normally, I would correct the anchor ratio, but with 22,000 links, I think that would look bad. Would a disavow be a better option here, or is there some other trick I'm not thinking about? It's a good question, Tara. Look, all I ever do with that stuff is disavow it. And I've had to do that a few times now. I've got one client in particular that there is a relentless spammer out there. It's an ex-employee. He thinks it's an ex-employee who constantly just adds, negative links like spam links and like really nasty stuff too, like porn links with really bad anchor texts and stuff like that. And so about once every 6 months, I do an audit on his backlink profile and scrape any of the new URLs that pop up and just add them to the disavow file and resubmit. And that's what I do, honestly, because there's so much. And I'm open to hear the opinions of my partners as well. But literally, I know some people say that don't use the disavow. I've never had it ever cause any problems for me. I've been able to recover penguin penalties using disavow, and I've also been able to prevent negative SEO from causing problems using disavow. But I know that some people say not to use it, but I've never experienced anything negative from it, so that's just what I do because it saves time. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I've never used a disavow tool, and I never plan to use it. So, but that's just my take on it. I've had people I know of people who have had success. I know of people who have not. So, I mean, it is what it is. It's Google.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've done it. I've done use disavow tools with good results. But Tara, in any case, I mean, disavow tools will help you at some, up until some point. But I think that you will need to go out there and find some really good quality backlinks, to offset the damage, if any.
Yeah.
So what I would do is to go out, maybe get a couple of editorial links, if you can get like a guest post or, because it's a client, or a press release, to offset that, doing strictly URL and or branded anchor text, so you can get a press release out there. You can get a couple of editorial backlinks, like really powerful backlinks, that will definitely offset the 50,000 backlinks that they are building to you, in addition to the disavow,
Yeah. Yeah. One trick with the disavow file that I found was whenever you submit the disavow file, you want to also submit it to several indexing services. So all the links that are in the disavow file, you want to submit to indexing services, because that's how Google knows. Like, for example, if you submit a disavow file and you don't send them through indexers as well, then Google is going to take its sweet old time for it to naturally go recrawl those links, especially if they're spammy links. A lot of those are like spam pots, or what they call honey pots, or whatever, those sites where, like blog comments, for example, where there's like, dozens and dozens of paginated comments, right? So those links are very, Google, the bots don't crawl those type of links very often, because it recognizes that it's basically a spam point, right? And so it's rare that Google will come crawl those types of links a lot of the time. So you have to get the Google bot to come crawl those links again, and then it will cross-reference the disavow file. And if there's a match between URLs, it will discredit or disassociate that URL from your profile. It doesn't take it away from your profile. The links will still show in your backlink profile, but Google just won't count that link, either negative or good. It'll be neutral. It won't have any effect. As according to Google, it's just been disregarded altogether. Although, again, it doesn't eliminate the URL, it just disregards it. But that's why if you take the URLs from the disavow file and submit them to several indexers, or if you have an index service that is indexing really, really well, like a really high success rate on indexing, then just send it to that one. So my point is, you want to get the Google bots to come crawl those URLs, because that's when it'll recognize that there's a file been submitted, and it'll make that match, and then it will discredit or just disregard that URL altogether. If that makes sense. Because that's the trick with disavow files, guys, because otherwise you can submit a file and it can be months before you see any results. But if you send it through a link indexing service, you can generally see results fairly quickly. Okay? Okay, cool. Let's keep moving. RoboForm, yeah, that's another one. Oh, wow, there's not a whole lot of additional questions. Good, because we're almost out of time anyways. Don Franklin says, I know Mastermind members get a discount on RYS, but I think Mastermind members should have RYS included as there is so much overlap and it's a piece of the puzzle that's needed for Mastermind members. Just my 2 cents. Well, we appreciate that, Don, but it's not going to happen. So, let's see. Paul says, I can see how we use this Yelp strategy to land new clients that are not ranking on first page. Yeah, Paul, it's very, very powerful. And, you know, that's something that you guys, you can create a whole separate service out of just optimizing Yelp pages. Did you know that? I mean, literally, you could contact, and I've done this in the past, you can contact people that, like, you can go start scraping Yelp listings. And by you, I mean a VA. You can hire a virtual assistant to go out and scrape whatever your preferred industry is. Remember, I always recommend that you guys niche down. You know, get in one vertical and stay there, because you can scale in one vertical so much faster than you can trying to serve multiple verticals or multiple industries, right? So select an industry, hire a virtual assistant to go out and start scraping Yelp listings for multiple cities, like cities surrounding you or anywhere in the world, really. It doesn't make any difference, but start scraping the listings in the cities that you designate and look for people that have non-verified or non-claimed Yelp listings. Look for companies, right? Because then you can actually reach out. And again, this is all work that the VA can do. The VA can email. You give them the email text, give them an email program that they can run through. Use something like Point of Mail or Yesware or some sort of email tracking client or a app that will notify you of opens and clicks and things like that, and send out emails to those non-verified Yelp listings, telling people, you know, and give them a soft pitch and say, look, you know, we can optimize your Yelp listing and we can help it to rank on Google, get you more phone calls. Not only Google, guys, but there's a ton of traffic in Yelp, period. So you can use all of that in your sales pitch. And again, if you're having a VA do it, it's basically hands off and it's a numbers game. You just got to continually send out emails to those customers, or excuse me, those businesses that have non-verified Yelp listings, and you'll get some. Some will bite. And when they do, it's easy money, because you can charge, you know, $500, let's say, to optimize a Yelp listing. And that includes optimizing the images, completing the profile, you know, confirming the listing, all of that. And then you can charge them on a monthly recurring basis to rank it for them and to keep it optimized, right? And that's something else that you could do. You could also manage like comments and things like that. Like my point is you can turn it into, first of all, it can be a one-off, just optimizing the listing, but then you can turn it into recurring revenue. And it's also a foot in the door strategy for additional marketing services. Okay. It's a really, really good strategy. And by the way, inside Yelp now, when you're logged in, I'm not logged into Yelp now, but you can actually send messages to people inside of Yelp. So you don't even, you know, you can, I prefer sending emails out first. And then if they don't respond, then going back and sending a question via the Yelp contact form, because they'll get, not always, but sometimes they'll get notified of it. And that'll go for like people that have verified their listing. So it's a confirmed listing, but it's not optimized, right? So like if somebody has confirmed their listing, but they don't have any images, there's no description, they don't have any reviews, or maybe they have negative reviews. That's a whole nother strategy, is going out and contacting people with negative reviews and saying that you can, you know, help to optimize their listing and help to set them up. You know, that's whole reputation management stuff. That's something else that you can do in Yelp, because Yelp is a huge, huge community with a ton of traffic. Okay. So it's a pretty good service that you can create a whole nother stream of revenue just from that. Okay, cool. It looks like we're done. Awesome. Thanks. Thanks for the extra indexing tip. Never thought of that. And that's exactly what I have in mind, Bradley. Okay. All right, guys. Since we don't have any other questions, you want to wrap it up?
Think so.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Don't forget, everybody, we got the webinar next Monday. So I will pop the link in real quick again and get signed up for it. Like we said, try to make it live if you can. Obviously, a valuable webinar, tons of content, some good stuff. So get signed up, and we'll see you guys there.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Masterclass starts in 10 minutes. So we'll see those of you there. See you.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.